Hi, everybody. This is Avrohom Czapnik from the Jewish Learning Exchange in Los Angeles. I hope you and yours are well. As we still remember the tragedy of the massacre in Australia, we do also have to remember the good things that miraculously they threw 4 different explosive devices and none of them went off. The casualties could have been, God forbid, much worse. So we have to remember that as well. This week's Torah portion is Parshat Vayigash. And in Parshat Vayigash, Yosef reveals himself to the brothers. He is known as Tzafnas Paneach. He's the viceroy in Egypt, and he's given them a hard time, and they don't know what's going on. And he says, "I am Yosef," and they're shocked because this sort of they're shocked. But the truth of the matter is, as the Chofetz Chaim explains so beautifully, this answers all the questions, the dreams that Yosef had and how he behaved toward them. And they realize that, in fact, that his dreams were prophetic and he did become a king over them. And it just answered all the questions. The Chofetz Chaim says, we have many questions in life. And we wonder, why did this happen? Why did that happen? And then in the end, God will say, Ani Hashem, I am God. And all the questions will fall to the wayside. Very powerful idea. But I'd like to share another aspect, because Yosef's reaction to his brothers was not out of anger. He didn't say, this is how you treated me. He said, this is all part of the divine plan. That's why this happened. And therefore, I'm not upset at you. This is all part so that I could provide for you and your families during the hunger years that impacted the entire region. And therefore, I'm not upset. And this was a powerful idea. And I'd like to share a very personal story. I had the merit, when I was a teenager, to be close to the Kapushnitzer Rebbe, Rabbi Heschel, a very special Jew. There's actually a beautiful book about him. You can read about him. The name of the book is The Legacy of the Kapushnitzer Rebbe, Rabbi Moshe. And it says beautiful examples of how he loved every Jew and how he was just a very special Jewish leader. And he had open heart surgery and came to the yeshiva where I was learning to recuperate. And he asked the Rosh Yeshiva, the dean of the yeshiva, if there would be a student who would learn Gemara for him, because he was weak and he couldn't do it on his own. And Baruch Hashem, I was very blessed to have the honor to develop a learning relationship with him and just a close relationship to him. I felt very, very close to him and felt very attached to him and his family. And unfortunately, he still was very weak and was sick and eventually ended up in the hospital. And I went to visit him in the hospital, and I came to his room and he wasn't there. And I asked the nurses, where's Rabbi Heschel? And they said, he's unfortunately in the morgue. And I was devastated. It was my first time that I had a personal connection to somebody who had passed away. And I was devastated. I went down to the morgue. I sat outside the morgue. I said Psalms. And I just was a terrible loss because we had become, in a very short time, I had become very close to him. And looked at him as a mentor. And I was just... he warmed my heart. The relationship warmed my heart. And it was exceptionally painful. It was, like I said, it was my first encounter with death. And it was very saddening, and it was just hard to deal with, on one hand, the beauty of the relationship, which I was honored that I was able to have that, and at the same time, the loss was devastating for me. And I kept up connection to his special Rebbitzin, his wife, Rebbitzin Chana Heschel, a very learned, a brilliant woman. And lo and behold, several years went by, and she was our shadchan. She was the matchmaker that suggested my very special wife to me that we should go out, and thank God we're married. And it's all that relationship with Rabbi Moshe Heschel Zatzal of blessed memory that allowed that and my family to take place. So again, we don't see the whole picture, and sometimes we get stuck on the negative and the difficult part, and we don't think, what are the future consequences of it? And that's really the important lesson of the parsha, which is a lesson for life. That we only see a small part of the picture, and God is in charge. And things that seem to be terrible to us, and maybe times are challenges, but we have to look at the bigger picture, that God knows what's going on and knows what He's doing. And ultimately, there can be many good things and great things that come out of it. So may we be inspired to realize that the hand of God is controlling everything in the world except our free choice. That's up to us. But if we choose correctly, God willing, we'll eventually see the good and the wonderful and the greatness of the Almighty in our, not only in the whole world, but in our personal lives as well. Have a wonderful Shabbos. All the best.